The soul devourer that dwells in the shadows of Super 8 films. There are monsters born from collective fear, creatures that inhabit the human imagination and feed on what we fear the most. But some entities go beyond the symbolic, beings that infiltrate reality, silent and patient, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. Among them, there is a name that sends shivers down the spine of even the most skeptical: Bagul, also known as Mr. Boogie, an ancient, cruel and intelligent demon. He feeds on the souls of children, leaving a trail of silence and horror wherever he goes. The public first encountered Bagul in 2012 in the film Sinister, directed by Scott Derrickson, the same filmmaker behind The Exorcism of Emily Rose. The story follows Ellison Oswalt, a crime novelist played by Ethan Hawke, who moves with his family into a new house without telling his wife that it was the scene of a brutal murder. Ellison becomes obsessed with writing his next big book and believes the crime hides something greater, something he can reveal. But what he finds in the attic goes beyond human comprehension. A box of Super 8 films, seemingly innocent, with homemade titles like Pool Party 66 and Lawn Work 86. When he projects the films, blood runs cold. Each reel depicts a family being brutally and ritualistically murdered, recorded from the killer's point of view. But there is something even more disturbing. In every recording, a shadowy figure watches from afar, a pale face with hollow eyes and a distorted smile. This is Bagul, the invisible predator that hides in images, waiting for the moment to cross the line between recorded and real. As the days pass, Ellison begins to notice strange things: noises during the night, footsteps from the attic, and shadows moving along the walls. His obsession with the films consumes him. He ignores sleep, ignores his family, and delves ever deeper into this cursed investigation. Then he uncovers the truth. All the families shown in the films died at different times and places, but there is a pattern. In each case, one of the children disappears after the massacre, never to be found again. These children, we later learn, are both victims and accomplices of Bagul himself. He corrupts them through the images, manipulating their dreams, their minds, and their souls until they commit the ritual murder of their own families. Then he drags them into his shadowy domain, a parallel dimension within the images, where they remain trapped forever, eternal fragments of the horror they helped create. Bagul is not an ordinary spirit. He comes from Babylonian pagan mythology, where he was known as the Child Eater and Lord of Shadows. He is said to dwell in images, stories and symbols, and any visual representation of him is a gateway. He does not need to be summoned with words or rituals. Simply looking at him is enough. Even for a second, the connection is made. This is how evil begins, with an innocent glance, a click of curiosity, a frame illuminated by the projector. The film builds terror slowly and suffocatingly. There are no jumping monsters, no gratuitous blood. The horror comes from the atmosphere, the sound of the projector spinning, the film crackling, and Bagul's fixed, immobile stare on the screen. The fear arises from what the viewer thinks they saw but is never entirely sure. He is terror hidden in the details, in background noise, a figure appearing for a single frame, or in the corner of a room lit only by a flashlight. The fear is psychological, ancient, and reaches the audience almost subconsciously. Bagul's presence is subtle, yet devastating. He doesn't need to scream, run, or attack. He watches, he waits, he influences. His power lies in silent manipulation, in making people destroy themselves. And when chaos is complete, he emerges only to claim what remain, the soul of the child he corrupted. The sequel, Sinister 2, 2015, expands the universe, revealing more about the curse cycle. We discover that the films are only a vehicle. Bagul also infiltrates digital files, audios, and videos, modernizing his method of reaching new victims. He is a predator that adapts with time. Yesterday in Super 8 films, today in cell phone videos, tomorrow on any screen connected to darkness. What remains constant is the ritual, the family sacrifice, and the consumption of the child's soul who carries out the act. Bagul's iconography is unmistakable. His long white face with deep dark eyes resembles a distorted theater mask. His tall, thin body, shrouded in a black cloak, seems to dissolve into the shadows. He is a spectral presence, almost two-dimensional, a living painting that moves only when you are not looking. The name Mr. Boogie, used by the children he corrupts, adds a sinister contrast. It turns the demon into a seemingly playful figure, like an invisible childhood friend, making his influence even more disturbing. But the true horror of Sinister lies in its psychological subtext. The film is not just about a supernatural creature. It is about obsession, guilt, and familial destruction. Ellison Oswalt represents the modern man obsessed with fame and glory, willing to exploit the suffering of others in the name of success. Bagul takes advantage of this ambition, using human curiosity as the first bait. He is the portrait of evil that feeds on desire, vanity, and attention. There is something deeply symbolic in how the terror manifests. The Super 8 films are the link between past and present, between the real and the supernatural. They represent the destructive power of the image, the way horror can be perpetuated simply by being seen. Bagul is in essence the dark reflection of art itself, a reminder that not everything recorded should be watched. Even after the films end, the fear lingers. The audience realizes that Bagul's true power is not in the films, but in the idea of him. Just remembering his face, imagining the figure in the dark, revives the terror. He is horror that infiltrates thought, evil that does not need a body to exist. Bagul is the nightmare watching from behind the screen. Sinister's success lies in this subtlety. It is not a movie of cheap scares, but of silence and continuous tension. Every sound, every frame, every breath builds the sense that something is wrong, but very wrong. And when Bagul finally appears in full form, the impact is inevitable. Confirmation that evil was present all along, merely waiting to be recognized. The final scene of Sinister is one of modern horror's most iconic. Ellison, already consumed by the curse, is killed by his own daughter. Corrupted by Bagul, she records the murder, adding the tape to the demon's collection. The camera then shows Bagul carrying the girl into the video, disappearing along with her. The message is clear. Whoever observes evil becomes part of it. In one final cruel gesture, the projector goes dark, leaving only the sound of the film burning and the distant echo of children's music announcing his arrival. Bagul does not need to chase his victims. He simply waits for someone to take the first step, for someone to look. And that is what makes him truly terrifying. He could be watching back,